Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the jungle.
Welcome to the jungle.
Fun and games. Isn't that what he says?
No, that is what he says. Do you think that describes what what people are entering right now with this podcast?
You mean because you yawned 3 times before? You're tired.
I am tired.
Yeah.
I didn't yawn. Don't lie.
Okay, you yawned during dinner, but I'm just saying, like, it's not a lie. It's just
so sue me. I yawned during dinner.
I'm just saying you're not in the jungle.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Unless you're a
were you
sleeping
welcoming
tiger.
me to the jungle?
I don't know exactly. I think I was just welcoming the listeners.
Well, in any event, the question was, what is the jungle? Is the jungle this podcast?
I thought the jungle was like our minds.
Are you talking about the song or are you talking about your intent right now?
I thought you were asking me my intent.
I am asking you your intent. But you said it as if
our
it's not.
Minds.
As if it was a theory that some people have about what you thought.
Wait, are you saying... Wait, I have a question. So, wait, are you saying, what do I believe the jungle to be?
No.
In
the song?
In the song?
No.
Or are you saying, what did I intend for the jungle to be 5 minutes ago?
When you sang it into the microphone.
Yes.
First of all, whom were you welcoming to the
listeners.
jungle? Hold on a second. Let me finish my questions, and then you can call on someone else. Whom were you welcoming, and in your mind, what jungle were you welcoming them to?
Listeners, to our minds. Listeners, to our minds.
The jungle of our minds.
The jungle of our minds.
Me and you.
Yes.
Not one's mind.
I suppose that could be inferred, but I meant ours.
Okay. You and me.
Yeah.
We should have, honestly.
I hate this intro. I wish it would start it. I kind of want to scrap it.
No, it's perfect. This is how we should have started our wedding. Is we should have turned to the guests and said, welcome to the jungle.
Should I have walked down the aisle to Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses? I
think that would have given it away. Because you really want that. So the idea would be, I'd be standing there. I'd be watching my beautiful bride-to-be walking down the aisle. Yeah. Everyone's like, oh my God, she's a princess. Then you get there. We look at each other. Yeah. And then we slowly pivot on our heels. Mm-hmm. We turn to face the guests. Mm-hmm. And we say in unison, welcome to the jungle. Mm-hmm. And then the song starts playing.
So this is like...
And then we stare at them for the length of the song.
This would be like...
And then at the end we say the jungle is our minds.
This would be like our version of like the choreographed viral dance.
Exactly.
In sunglasses down the aisle.
Yes. To a canceled person's song. Now let me ask you, first of all, let's get the introductions out of the way. I'm Paul F. Tompkins.
Hi, Paul. Nice to meet you. I'm Janie Haddad Tompkins.
I'm a comedian.
I'm an actress.
We are married.
We're married and stuck in this fucking house for a fucking year because of COVID.
Yeah, COVID, y'all.
COVID, y'all.
COVID, y'all. It's no joke.
COVID's no joke.
Y'all, novel coronavirus going to get up in some trouble tonight. People's bodies.
Y'all, coronavirus disease 2019 is coming at ya.
So here's what I propose. If we had done this, like instead of everyone did choreographed dances at their reception.
The jungle. Well, the jungle.
What if we had done? It starts out traditionally, just like I described.
Sure.
Then we get up there, we turn, pivot on the heels.
Welcome to the jungle.
Stare. The entire song plays while we stare at them.
Stare.
Then after the song is over, we say...
The jungle's our minds.
The jungle's our minds.
The jungle's our minds.
Then the wedding is normal from there, and we never acknowledge it. And when people ask us why we did
what did that mean?
We say, we thought it would be nice. Did you not like it?
First of all, I had the best wedding planner. I mean, I guess you had her too. Wedding planner.
For your wedding? I was so honored to be at your wedding.
Paul gets so mad when we are in mixed company and I say, oh my God, my wedding, blah, blah, blah. And he'll stop and say, your wedding? Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
It's
gets so mad.
It's like when you talk about your bedroom.
And you did it the other day. You said something like, it's in my room. And I was like,
Did I really?
And I was like, oh, your room?
The best.
Your room?
The best.
Your room? Or our room? He gets so mad because I'll be like, oh my God, at my wedding, da 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 da. And he'll be like, oh.
Just so people know, I don't get really mad. I'm not actually angry. It's a fun bit.
It's a bit.
It's like the bless you. We've talked about this, I'm sure.
Yes, because people have commented. People have written in and commented and said, oh my God, that's just like me and my part. Y'all like totally remind me of me and my partner or me and my spouse. How will like y'all's banter?
Me and my cellmate.
We have not gotten that.
Not yet. Not yet.
stayfhomekins@gmail.com, y'all.
There you go.
Tell us what cell block you're on and we'll give you a shout out. Give you just a great yawn number.
Why?
Because you were tired. I was tired last week and people really liked it.
People liked that you were tired?
Oh my God, there's a dog like going nuts out there. The fuck? Is it a dog fight?
Who are those people? I just see a woman standing by herself.
I'm opening the door.
Okay.
I gotta see.
Okay, Mrs. Kravitz.
Well, I am the Mrs. Wait, I'm just opening the people.
Okay, I see. There's our neighbor. Our neighbor has two dogs.
Oh,
She
it's
has one on
Jessie and
leash,
Murphy.
one in her hand.
Oh, wait, Jessie's got another dog.
Where'd that other dog come from?
She sometimes looks after like one of her family members' dogs.
But then who?
Because I've heard her say.
Who were the barking dogs? The ones next door?
Dog, it was like a tiny black miniature poodle. So
Like over here?
yeah, the one on the woman on the left.
I did not see her. I could not see her.
She had a tiny black miniature poodle. And then Jessie next door had Murphy, and then she had that black and white little, I don't know, Lhasa Apso looking thing.
Black and white Murphy dog?
Something in her arms.
Yeah.
And when they were passing each other, I think it was the poodle. Do poodles bark? One of them
are
was
they not supposed to bark? Maybe they don't bark.
Anyway.
I bet it was a little black and white guy.
I think Jessie was with, maybe that's like her sister or something.
Do you know what's
I don't know.
I like when dogs are fascinated by each other in the wild when they meet each other like at the park or whatever.
They sniff each other's butts.
Sure they do. That's their business. But what's even
really
funnier to me is when two dogs pass by each other and they're not interested at all.
That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
They're like, I don't give it. You do your thing, man. Mm-hmm. You live your life. I'm gonna live mine.
I love a blase dog.
I love a blase dog.
Because that's like capturing your heart right there. That's like capturing.
When I worked on Lodge 49 and there was a dog in the makeup trailer who was like the coolest dog. Mm-hmm. He was an old guy. I believe his name was Charlie. Mm-hmm. And he hung out in the makeup trailer all day. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I took some pictures and
was he like a black lab or something?
No. He was like some little tan dog. I don't know what breed.
Oh, he was a tan dog.
And he was very quiet and very slow, and he just walked over to get petted. Like he knew
had
the drill.
Sense.
Like it's like, yeah, I know what you want to do. You want to pet me. And then when I went to take a picture with him, and I crouched down next to him, and he sat down and faced the camera, like he knew. Like
he's like, here we go.
Like, it's me, fine. Charlie. I get it. I'll give everyone their little special moment.
I hope I'm like that when I'm an aged. If I reach celebrity status, an aged celebrity, I don't want it.
You're never going to be quiet.
I'm never going to be a celebrity.
You're going to be blasé.
Also, by the way, I know I have chosen acting as my profession. Mm-hmm. Never wanted to be a celebrity. I have no desire to be a celebrity. Period.
I think I did when I was younger. Because I liked watching celebrities on talk shows.
But when you're a comedian, that's different. Because you're you. Like you're getting up as Paul yourself.
Yeah.
As an actor, you want to become sort of a chameleon.
A chameleon.
I mean, you don't want to be known. Like, you want to be kind of like, whoa, that was you? Mm-hmm. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea.
You want to just blend into a role like Jared Leto.
Does Jared Leto just like, now he's just like, I look like this. This is how I look, and I have to look like this for this character every time now? Sorry, Jared. I'm just saying, like, he's got like the, Brooklyn hipster long hair, pretty face thing going.
Sometimes he has that. He tried to look like a weirdo in that Little Things, where I think he had some fake prosthetics going on.
Oh, I think you're right. He put some teeth in or something, I don't know.
He may have had a fake nose. I don't know.
Did he?
Somebody said that on Twitter, and I couldn't find it. That's not a good fake nose. Honestly, I mean, in a way, it's a good fake nose because it doesn't look like a fake nose. But if it doesn't substantially alter your appearance, where you're like, oh, that's Jared Leto, it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, I find like celebrity in general to be a little like off-putting.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
No offense to my celebrity friends who are listening to this podcast, because obviously this is the life you've chosen and I support it. I'm just saying, for me personally, as a personal choice.
The stuff that surrounds celebrity is very off-putting.
Okay.
It's very off-putting.
I agree with that.
Because, look, we like celebrities. There's people that we like.
Are you kidding? I mean,
and it's fun to encounter somebody.
I watch celebrities all the time. I'm thrilled by their existence. I'm thrilled.
They are a gift to us from Almighty God.
Like, I get that. I get that. I'm just saying, as a matter of personal preference, like, it would bum me out. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, like, let's just say I won the lottery, which I haven't yet, but I'm still trying. In some states, you can remain anonymous and collect your winnings as an anonymous person, which I think would be like the most badass way to deal with it. But in some states, you have to claim, I have this ticket and this is who I am, and it has to be a matter of public record.
Yes, and then you have to sign a development deal with NBC.
I would prefer the anonymous route. Mm-hmm. Even though I probably would tell like all of my friends, like, I fucking won the lottery. Mm. Like, I won it.
Please don't tell anyone.
I know. Okay. I didn't want to say anything, but I won the lottery.
I shouldn't be telling you this.
I didn't want to. I wanted to keep it secret, but like, I can't. And like, you're gonna pay for half of this meal, and I don't want you to.
So that no one
I don't want you. I'm gonna pay for it. I'm gonna pay for it, the whole meal, and I don't want you to feel bad about it because I won the lottery. Just don't tell everyone that I did.
Don't tell the waiter so they bring over a bottle of champagne.
But I would just like quietly go about my business as like a multimillionaire.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
That's my plan.
Yeah. It's a good plan.
Obviously, I'm going to give some to charity, y'all. Don't come at me with that.
Never forget that night.
I think we told that story.
Oh, we did.
We were at Christmas. We were staying.
Never forget it.
And they're like, because I think we gave out lottery tickets, or somebody gave out lottery tickets.
Yeah, because it was
like a gift. It was a Christmas gift.
Insurmountable amount of money.
It was a Mega Millions or a Powerball or something. It was like one of those where it's like, it's almost $1 billion. And you're like, that's not good for anybody. Like, an entire office pool needs to win that. Like, it can't just be one, whatever. And it was like, what would you do? And we went first, and we're like, I would buy like 8 homes.
Yeah, we were both just talking about extravagant things. Like, I get a beach house.
I was like, I think I would learn. I always wanted to learn to sail, and it's like, and all of a sudden, and then everyone else in the circle was like, I would just give it to charity.
I would start a foundation.
And
people had
full stop.
No, nobody.
Full stop.
People, I wish it was full stop. No one was that. They were detailed about it, like what they would do.
But I'm saying, like, there was no like, and then I might. Then it was like,
no, they never said like a fun thing they would do.
They never were like, and then I might buy like Front Beach property. That was just like, I would.
Maybe I'd get a new watch.
Yeah, they were basically like, I would like, well, there's like a home unhoused crisis on my street. And, I know I could build a shelter and like, blah, blah, blah. And it was like they had thought about it like in a way of like how they were going to solve the problems of the world.
That's not what the deal was.
And I was literally like, I don't know, like, I think I want to... I definitely want to like go on a big trip.
It was a lot of people too.
Go on a trip.
It was a lot of people. There was like 6 people.
And like we totally look like total dicks.
Yeah, we had to sit through 4 more people saying that they would change the world.
Can we go again? Because, by the way, no one won the lottery in that group. I didn't win it.
They jinxed us by lying.
I didn't win it. I have a theory. I think I've said it on this podcast. I know I'm just repeating everything. And then there's some people who started binging this podcast like recently. And they're like, oh my God, I just discovered your podcast and I'm almost caught up or whatever. So now you're going to get the full brunt of me repeating myself.
Now we're recapping all the episodes you just listened to.
I have a
it's
theory.
It's a special recap episode.
Which we have no recollection of.
Previously on
anything that we've
Stayfhomekins.
said. No recollection of anything.
No.
I have a theory about the lottery. You got to buy a ticket
to win. This is a good theory.
That is true. You can't win the lottery unless you buy a ticket, which my dad always says as a metaphor for life. I'll be like, I don't know, should I do this or that? And he's like, can't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket.
That's perfect. Of course, that's what he says.
Can't win, and it's like, oh, you're right. I got to participate in order to see. Mm-hmm. I probably won't win, but whatever. Okay, so my theory is like you've got to like buy your ticket like outside of the town you live. Like you've got to be on like a road trip,
right?
Because you're not going to win the lottery at your local liquor store. Mm-hmm. But you might win the lottery when you're like, I was in Kernsville at the bait shop and on a whim, I bought 10 tickets or whatever. That's the place that's going to hit the lottery.
Shout out to the Kernsville bait shop. We hope you're listening.
Oh my God, y'all. So I'm serious. So whenever I go on the road somewhere, I think to myself, when I stop for, corn nuts.
Your favorite.
When I've got to like stretch my legs and I need like a Mexican Coke and some corn nuts and some dark chocolate.
When I'm looking for a cheer wine and a moon pie.
When I like to put some peanuts in my RC Cola.
When I want a boiled peanut and a sweet tea.
I used to drink Yoo-Hoo on. Yoo-Hoo was my road trip. So when I was in college, because I went to college 2 hours away from where I grew up, I would get my Yoo-Hoo, pretty much hungover.
Yeah.
So I'd get my BC powder, my headache powder.
Headache powder.
And a pack of Marlboro Lights. Okay. I do my headache.
I get a can of Dapper Dan.
Get my headache powder. I do my BC powder on my tongue. Wash it down with the Yoo-Hoo. And then smoke my Marlboro Lights. And listen to my tunes,
Breakfast of Champions.
I'd get my tunes and then I'd take my dirty laundry home 2 hours for the weekend, go out partying in Charleston, then get back on the road, get back up to Columbia for the classes I would not go to.
What was your college life like? I really don't know much about that.
My college life was all over the map.
Yeah. Because you went a few different places.
I went, and I did in high school too. Y'all, this makes me sound unstable, but I'm not. Here's the truth of the matter. And my mom's in the other room. She's still visiting. So I feel like I blame her for this in a way.
For what?
Should I go wake her up? So we just parked her in front of the PBS app.
She was very excited to watch the Frontline about morticians during
funeral directors. I was like, you can watch that when we're recording the podcast. We are not watching that as a family. And so I parked her in front of...
Not without getting high as fuck.
So I started school too young. Okay? Like I started
like the very beginning of your academic career.
Yes. Like I started kindergarten as a 4-year-old.
What is the age for kindergarten?
5. But my birthday was like the cutoff,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, end of October or whatever, where I was allowed to turn 5 in kindergarten and be enrolled by like a couple days or some shit.
Right.
Okay. So this set me on a path as a person in the world who was like just a little too young for everything, a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I wasn't like slow. I was like advanced enough to be almost maybe
be
like,
hanging with the big boys. I get it.
I was like advanced enough in school.
Yeah.
To the point where I became bored in school.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's because school is boring?
School is definitely boring. But like, I was like, I don't have to do these things to learn. I mean, I don't have to do homework to learn this.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
And so I had a kind of a rough time with school until I landed in all girls school, which was my last 2 years of high school.
And then you flourished.
Yes. And then I was like, oh, this is so much better. Like there's no pests. There's no like discrimination, you know, it was just so stress free and everything. And I like did not want to go to all girls school at all. I was like, that's bullshit. You know, my brothers don't have to go to all girls school. And, so anyway, and so by the time college happened and my senior year was interrupted by a very disruptive natural disaster.
This was Hurricane Hugo.
Yes. So when Hurricane Hugo came through and I was out of school and out of our home, we had to move out of our home for a few months. Like I was like convinced I was not going to college. I was like, oh, I'm going to repeat my senior year.
Right.
But they were like, no, y'all are fine. So by the time college...
It happened to us too.
yeah, they were like, we want y'all to leave town.
Let's just pretend.
We want y'all to leave town.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So then I was not really... I didn't know where I wanted to go. I didn't know... Like I didn't want to go. Like I wanted to take what they call now... a gap year.
A gap year.
But that was not a gap year when I was graduating high school was like, if you don't go to college, you're never going to college.
Yeah.
So you have to go. Like I was like forced. So I ended up sort of at this college in Ohio for a semester that I was not suited for because it was like this party school. And I'd already partied. Like, I'd already done it, you know? And there was, like, fraternities and sororities. And I was like, I'd already gone to an all-girls school. I didn't need to be in a sorority. Like, I'd already experienced all of the things that was happening at the school in my life. And I had homesickness and PTSD. And, like, it just was terrible fit at the moment, even though I'm still friends with those girls that I was on the dorm. I mean, I'm like, my friend Nicole's listening to this right now. Like she was across the hall from me and we've stayed friends
Hi, Nicole.
For decades. And Molly, who was my roommate, who is just a lovely, like,
have I ever met Molly?
You never met Molly, but she lives in Atlanta and, she's a great person, but like, these are just people that I collected. I've collected so many people along the way. So I ended up back in Charleston and I did a semester at College of Charleston. But I was not allowed to move home. I had to live in an apartment with these other girls that I went to high school with. And so that was kind of a lost semester. And then I was like, I want to go to University of South Carolina. That's where I want to go. I want to be at a big school. I've never been in a big public school before. I want to be where people are just like, just teeming and roaming around me. Like I wanted that.
This is like Ariel the Mermaid.
I wanted that experience. Like, and so, and obviously I wasn't ready for college. So the cheaper, the better. You know what I mean? Like this place was like dirt cheap. Like, it was like dirt cheap. And I went and I was in the theater department there, and I'm still friends with people from there. So that I would consider the last 3 years I spent at University of South Carolina, those were my college years. And that was just like not, it was like if I had been allowed to go to a public school in high school, that's what it was like. I was getting to have that experience.
Right.
You know.
So then when did you go to SMU?
So I went to SMU for a master's degree, which is a 3-year program postgraduate.
Who are the famous people that came out of the acting program at SMU? Stephen Tobolowsky.
Stephen Tobolowsky, Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates.
I guess Greer Garson, because there was a theater named after her.
Greer Garson from Black and White Times.
Lauren Graham went to my program specifically.
One of the Gilmore Girls.
Yeah. Dylan, what's his name? Baker.
Oh, yeah,
Went to
Dylan
Yale.
Baker. Dylan Baker's great.
He went to SMU then Yale. Several people went to SMU then Yale. Oh, God, Broadway. Oh, what's her name? Deborah Monk.
Oh, yeah, Deborah Monk.
Deborah
yeah, sure.
Monk.
Sure.
Oh, you know who works a lot now?
Here. Who?
So people after me, right? One of our biggest fans, I consider her famous, Katie Featherstone.
Absolutely.
Started in, you may know her from starring in Paranormal Activity.
That's right.
But she
Hi,
was,
Katie.
so some of these people clearly were not there when I was in the program.
Yes.
I guess Mary Elizabeth Day, you might know, Mary Elizabeth Ellis Day, married to Charlie Day. She was below me and worked on one of my thesis theater projects.
Puck from the Real World?
Did he go to SMU?
No.
I was like, what? I'm blanking on, famous playwright, Beth Henley, is that her name?
Yeah.
She wrote for Holly
Crimes of the
Hunter.
Heart? Yeah.
Yeah. It's that Stephen Tobolowsky era. Yeah, I mean.
And you have lifelong friends from there.
Yes.
People
lifelong.
that you see on a regular basis.
People that I
still.
text with. People that just texted me.
Oh my God. Are you
like
fucking kidding?
5 minutes ago.
Are you fucking kidding me?
So when I went to SMU, and I've collected, like I said, I've collected people everywhere I've gone. Is that normal?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's normal, of course.
Because, I mean, I went to Catholic school, and then I went to like a private school after that when I couldn't stand the misogyny, and like I'm still friends with, like I still see people from every little tiny sliver of my life.
Yeah.
And I wonder also too, like, because I'm from a divorced family, I'm from a divorced household. If that wasn't some kind of accidental skill, because I spent time between two households. And not only did I spend time between two households, I blended into two other families when both of my biological parents remarried, people with existing families. So not only did I have like these existing families from both biological parents,
right?
Like I was forced to adapt and blend into these environments.
True, but I think it's also I think it's a pretty normal thing if you are somebody who moves from place to place. You know, like I still have old friends in Philly, and people that I've known here. I've probably kept more friends from back home than I have from my earliest days here.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I think so. Yeah.
But like your earliest days here.
When I first came to LA, I barely knew anyone. I knew.
Which was what year?
1994.
Holy shit. 94.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think because I knew it was after Northridge, but I couldn't remember when Northridge was.
Northridge was February of 94. And this was whenever I moved here, I flew to Los Angeles the day that Kurt Cobain died. Because I heard the news in the car on the way to the airport.
That sucks.
Yeah. I want to say that was in April or something.
But you
maybe?
didn't know anyone here.
I knew one guy, and I knew a young woman that I was very sweet on at the time, had just moved here.
Where is she now?
I don't know. I haven't seen her in a long, long time.
So you were you came here very unconnected. You were very unconnected.
Yes. There was a feeling of urgency about it, like that I had to do it. I've been talking about moving for a long time. I almost moved to Chicago.
Well, comedy's big in Chicago. I mean, but
there was a huge,
you know what,
flourishing comedy scene then. And there is now, I'm sure.
LA's better weather.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, I know.
LA's like a different situation.
If I'd gone to
Chicago, come here and find out what the weather is here. You cannot believe it, y'all.
If I'd gone to Chicago, it would have been like more of what I already knew, and worse, probably.
Well, because you knew stand-ups that you knew stand-ups.
Well, I knew stand-up, and I'm talking about the weather. Like I knew what it was like to live in a place that got cold and a place that got hot. But I moved out here because it just seemed like, well, I have my big dreams, and there's also this young lady that I'm convinced we're going to get together because we dated for 3 weeks. And then
you should write her a thank you note because you love Los Angeles.
I have no idea where she is. I was kind of an annoyance to her for a while.
Really?
Yeah. You know how it is when a guy thinks it's going to happen and it's not going to happen.
Sorry, but I do.
Yeah, of course. Everyone does. And then, so we kind of we eventually drifted apart. And then she moved away. Then I saw her. She came to London when I was working there. And I was like, what is this going to be? I don't know what this is exactly. So she came and she stayed for a week and nothing happened. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm over this then, because I hadn't seen her in a while. And then after that, she called me like a few years later, and I just never called her back. She left me a message. I don't know if this is still your number, blah, blah, blah. And I just never called her back. I was like, we don't have anything to say to each other.
So, but moving somewhere without any touchstone or friends.
I don't recommend it.
Yeah, because
I don't recommend it.
I had friends here.
Yeah.
So I was moving to a network of people I knew. I
was very much jumping into the unknown. I thought I had a place to crash. Turns out I did not have a place to crash. And it was bad. And then I crashed. That girl let me sleep on her couch. And it was...
This is like breaking my heart.
It was horrible.
This is like bumming me out because I can imagine you young and kind of like... What's the word? Like
helpless, clueless.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say that, but I can see it, and it's like bumming me out.
Honey, it all worked out. Here we are.
It did all work out, but it's not an easy place. It's not an easy place.
But
it's kind of like people don't understand because the lore is. Oh, if you can make it in New York, New York is so tough, and New York is tough. And I've lived there. I moved there after drama school, so I know what that's like. But I think it's a little bit harder here because you're very isolated from other people.
It's so much harder to meet people. There
is no... you can go days without seeing another person here if you so choose.
Yeah.
And you can feel like that everyone here is nuts.
Yeah.
And when I first moved here, I mean, I couldn't believe how many like just openly mentally ill people were roaming the street. Like it was like LA has a way of like breaking people.
Yeah.
Like you see people's broken dream. You see Hollywood tragedies everywhere. You see it and you're like, "Oh my God, is that going to be me?"
Yeah. You also just, when you first get here, you don't know what's good and what's bad. And so the idea of like somebody says, "Hey, we're going to go to this club or we're going to go to this party or whatever."
Yes.
And then it's horrible.
Yes.
And you're like, "Oh my God, is this just what life is like?" And then you realize later, like, "Oh no, that was just a place that I would never go to in a million years if I knew any better."
When I first moved
not my
here,
scene.
I went to some mixer that I think may have ended up being like a cult. I went to a mixer at the Trocadero on Sunset Boulevard on the Strip.
I'm trying to remember where the Trocadero was.
Because this friend of mine...
It's not still there anymore, right?
I don't think it is, but this friend of mine, Kelly, was someone I knew at the time, she was working there and she got fired from every job she worked at. Because she was like a real spitfire. Mm-hmm. Now she's like a mom. But like... And not just a mom. I don't mean it like that. Like she's responsible.
Is this the Kelly from the Standard Hotel story? Or a different Kelly?
It's the same
the same Kelly. Okay, yeah.
She's the party.
She is a spitfire,
She likes to drink.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there was some mixer there and I ended up there and there were all these actors and it was like this guy who holds these like workshops or classes or something that you end up paying for. And we all ended up at his like apartment. And people were just like nuts about him. And he was like, "Do you want to take my acting class?" And I had like literally just got my master's degree and I was like, I don't want to take another acting class for like maybe like 5 years. Like, and also like I studied in New York and I'm, not taking out here.
Yeah.
Like you don't seem like the guy that knew Lee Strasberg that I was taking with in New York. Like you seem like a different guy. And no, I'm not. And so, yeah. And it's like you end up sometimes in these groups of people and you don't know. You just don't know what's good. You're right. You don't know.
You don't know yet.
You don't know.
Yeah. And I get why people have an opinion of LA. If they just come here and they visit and they end up being dragged to a place like that, I get why they think, "Oh, that's what LA is." Because that's all they know. And it's a big sprawling city.
That. LA is a million things.
It's a million things,
LA
though.
is so
but
many...
they are convinced that's what LA is, period. And it's like, no, there's plenty of great things. It's just like New York. There's plenty of bullshit in New York.
But then when you start getting your foot in the industry, that then shit starts being bad in that department where you start hearing, you realize this casting horror story where they ask you to do this or that, or so-and-so came so close to this kind of job. And then they were told in front of every executive, you're fired, it's not you, or go home, or, and then you start working that angle, you start being in that world.
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Oh, this is what breaks people's brains."
Did you
break their brains?
I heard this Jennifer Coolidge story. She told Jay Cool told this story where she was working on some movie. It's like a low budget thing, and she was changing her wardrobe in the bathroom, and one of the producers came in and said, or maybe the director came in and said, "I'm sorry, but don't bother changing. This is not working out. We're letting you go." And she's like, "Oh, okay." So she puts her clothes back on, and then she's leaving. One of the producers sees her as she's walking out and says, "Jennifer, aren't you supposed to be on set?" And she said, "No, I just got fired." And the producer said, "Oh, well, have a great weekend." And that was it.
Yeah, it's a
strange. Look, our jobs are strange.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of strangeness that surrounds them.
Yeah, Yeah,
and it's just like you just get used to it, and everything becomes a story.
Everything becomes a story, and everyone has their own weird journey, and that's comforting.
Except the children of already famous people.
That's true.
Do you have all the nepotism?
I will
kids?
say, like, there's something comforting that there's so many like avenues and ways that people, and then
Yeah.
and then it's like, then you are here long enough, and then you see people rise fast around you and flame the fuck out.
Yeah.
And they get like accused of groping and then you're like, because you're like, wow, that guy has like, he books a pilot every year and like they gave him like a development deal and and then now it's like he's radioactive and no one wants to touch him.
Yeah, because there's creeps in every occupation.
And then you're like trying to like grind it out.
Yeah.
And then you see people, like, for example, when I worked at M-Bar, like I would see who you know from Philly, Kate Flannery, would always come to with her singing group and do like this most amazing like musical comedy. She was so talented.
This is the Lampshades, right?
The Lampshades. Yeah. And they were like this cocktail act or like loungy act, but it was comedic and it was weird and it was so fucking awesome. And she was amazing. And she was like waiting tables at Kate Mantellini's.
Kate Mantellini.
Yeah. And and then she got The Office.
Yeah.
And it was like she'd been like grinding it out for a while. And now she's like, you know, like a known entity that works all the time. And she was on Dancing with the Stars and everything. And it's like amazing. Like you see people around you. It's just a weird life. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how we got on this topic other than it's just weird to live in LA and whatever.
It's weird to live in LA. Okay, we got to take a break. And please enjoy.
Someone asked me my favorite Billy Joel song on Twitter. And I said, Los Angelinos all come from somewhere.
He nailed it.
Do you remember the words?
No. We do have to take a break.
We're going to read some ads that we don't remember which ones they are. We're going to tell you in a minute.
You'll find out after we do. This episode is brought to you by Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon. It's cereal. You know, remember when you were a kid, you were growing up, and you loved cereal? And
remember how I said I had too many carbs, too many sugar, too much unhealthy food in my diet? And I was like, I can't eat anything anymore.
I do. It was a bit of a fast forward from childhood to today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I said, you know, I've been drinking protein shakes and powder for years, but I finally found a delicious way to get my protein before and after workouts. And I felt guilty I had not shared that with you before.
Okay. So basically, we discovered Magic Spoon because breakfast doesn't have to be boring. They have amazing flavors you love, but without all the bad stuff.
Here are some things about Magic Spoon. 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving.
Only 140 calories a serving.
It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, and GMO-free.
So go to magicspoon.com/homekins to grab some blueberry or a custom bundle of cereal to try it today.
Magic Spoon has so many different flavors, and you can mix them and match them. Mix cocoa with peanut butter. It tastes like a peanut butter cup. It tastes like regular cereal from your childhood, but it is super nutritious, delicious, super healthy cereal that brings joy to your mornings or afternoons or evenings. Eat cereal whenever you want. You're an adult.
If you're listening from Canada, Magic Spoon now ships there as well.
Yeah. So congratulations.
So go to magicspoon.com/homekins. Use our promo code HOMEKINS at checkout to save $5 off your order.
Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode.
We finally have reached out to Canada with Magic Spoon. It's U.S. and Canada.
Oh, Canada. This week's episode brought to you by
Usual Wines.
Usual Wines.
These are your usual wines, which means they are not your unusual wines, which means that you should be drinking them every day of your life.
That's why they're saying usual, because they want to be your usual.
Usual wines are for the modern drinker.
Do you know when you play bar in your home and you walk up to your counter and say, I'll have the usual, then you run around the other side
and then you
say,
give yourself
I got you covered.
Usual wines.
Usual wines.
So modern drinker. Each bottle is 6.3 ounces, which is a heavy pour, about a glass and a half of wine. So, okay. You know how like wine comes in a bottle with like more than one glass in it?
Let's go way back. Wine is made of grapes.
Wine is made of grapes, and they put it in a bottle, and it's a stupid design, and I'll tell you why. Because once you open the bottle, like you're on the clock, you're on a race against time.
Yeah.
If you don't drink that bottle, it's going to turn into vinegar.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to pour vinegar down the drain. That's just money wasted.
That's not why you buy vinegar.
You don't buy vinegar to drink it and pour it down the drain and spit it into...
No, you buy vinegar to make a volcano for science class.
So, okay, now that you're a usual wines drinker...
Congrats.
Okay, you're going to get a bottle that is a 6.3 ounce. Okay? And because of this single serve format and bottle design... Your glass of usual wines is always fresh. No more flat, bubbly, or stale rosé. The wines are low carb, which is a theme from our sponsors if you haven't noticed.
That's right.
Because we ate too damn much during the pandemic. They have 0 grams of sugar. They have a red blend, a rosé, a sparkling white wine called Brut. Brut.
But.
Brut.
But.
I'll have a Brut. They also have a usual spritz, which is low alcohol, 8.5%. Low-calorie wine spritzer that's made of sparkling wine and guava juice.
Oh, I love
guava juice.
Guava juice.
It's like White Claw for grown-ups.
Yeah.
Each serving has just, guess, how many calories?
1,000.
No!
What?
83 calories.
I was way off.
Coca-Cola has like 183.
Ugh, and that doesn't even get you drunk.
So go to usualwines.com. and use my discount code.
Our discount code. Come on.
stayfhomekins.
You did that on purpose.
Go to usualwines.com and use our discount code.
stayfhomekins.
For $8 off your first order. And try your first glass on us. And welcome to your new obsession. You really got a kick out of that.
We're back.
You got a kick out of that one.
I got a kick out of that one. Calling wine your new obsession. A little loaded.
You're my obsession.
You're my obsession.
So we were talking about living in LA, moving to LA.
Yeah.
And I got this, like, I call her my baby cousin, but she's a grown woman.
Yeah, I understand that. Yes. I get that feeling.
Because she's my cousin. She's my cousin's grown adult daughter.
I call I still refer to one of my cousins as my little cousin.
Yeah, she's my baby cousin.
She's a mother.
Yeah, this person's like...
She's a grown woman.
Like probably way more competent than... Anyway, Annie, I'm trying to get her moved to LA. Because she's like, I think I want to break into like TV writing. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. She's like, can I talk to you about living in LA? I was like, yeah, we're going to talk. Anyway, she like texted me like 10 minutes ago. And she's like,
I bought a Greyhound ticket.
No, she was like, I'm dying in it. She sent a picture of you in Community. She's watching Community, and she's like, "Oh my god!" I almost like spit out my drink watching this, and I was like, "Oh my god!" She doesn't even know I'm sitting here.
I hope to future generations who are watching like contemporary shows in reruns that I will have become that guy for them.
Oh, but yeah, they're like that guy. He's in everything.
I've appeared on enough TV shows one time. That guy's in everything. I hope I will have achieved that guy status for future generations.
That's a good status to achieve.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that at all.
So here we are.
Couple of silver spoons.
I forgot about that show.
it was a little after my time. I was a little too old to be watching a show like that. Yeah.
Cuckoo.
Hi, Cuckoo. We love you. We do. We don't say it enough.
Don't forget to get your pets vaccinated.
I beg your pardon, Bob Barker?
Some people aren't going to know what that reference is about.
No, but you know what? Drew Carey still says it. He says it now at the end of The Price is Right.
Really?
Yeah, he carried it on.
That's nice.
Yeah, isn't it nice? He might not even give a shit.
We're going to have to vaccinate our pets from COVID.
Is that true?
We had to vaccinate those gorillas.
First of all, who's we?
America.
What gorillas did we vaccinate? I'm not up on this news
like
at
at
all.
the Cincinnati Zoo or something. They got COVID.
Wow. But
how'd you miss it? They vaccinated. People were pissed.
It is weird because I did have a Google alert for gorillas and vaccinations.
They were like, that gorilla got vaccinated before I did. And people are like, you dumbass. It's like veterinarian grade, you idiot. Which is kind of my favorite thing when something's trending on Twitter. Something is like they'll put it in the highlights on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then you'll peruse, and then you'll see like somebody say something, and you're like, oh, there's like 57 replies,
right?
And then you click on it, and then you read down the replies, and you just see like a stream of strangers being like, "You fucking idiot," or whatever.
It's kind of great.
It's like amusing to me because I'm like, well, that guy was an idiot. He was. He shouldn't have said it on this forum, you know. And sometimes I learn things because they're like, well, in 1973, we vaccinated 18, you know, whatever, orangutans or, you know, I made that up, y'all. I'm just saying, like, sometimes people throw in real facts and then I'm like, is that for real? And then I'll Google it and I'm like, oh, it's for real. That's just how I absorb information, which is a terrible way to do it. I'm not.
It's not bad.
No, it's. I think it's. I think it's lazy.
You hear about a thing and then you look it up. I don't think that's bad at all.
I don't know.
I think supposed to take a class
lazy.
for
It's
everything?
Like an intellectually. Well,
I disagree.
Well,
I think half.
It's a new way of. It's a new way of absorb. It's a new way.
It is. Well, because we're being confronted with more information than we ever have in history.
Who's to say like Wikipedia's on the up and up?
Well, but that's not
Anyone
the only.
Can change
but that's not the only source.
It's not.
It's not the only source.
It's not.
And I don't think it's lazy. I think lazy would be reading something, sort of filling in the blanks yourself, and then telling other people this is a fact. That's what I do.
I like sometimes I know things are facts, and I'm scared to say they're facts. Like I'll be like, from my experience, I've noticed 87% of blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because it's like, there's always someone that's like, you got it wrong. It's 2%. It's 2% off.
Yeah.
You're, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll be like, shit, am I part?
Shitty sale.
Shitty sale?
2% off.
I'm just saying, like, I don't want to be somebody who perpetuates misinformation, because I have been the victim of misinformation many times.
Me too. Yeah.
Like,
it happens to the best of us.
I want to believe certain things. So when they'll hit and I'll be like, God, I want that to be true. And so sometimes I will just like accept it as true until it's proven not. You know what I mean?
Well, the worst is something that you believe. You know, you hear it, you believe it, and then somebody like else will point out the logic flaws in it, and then you'll be like, oh, yeah.
You're like, how come I didn't do that work?
Yeah.
How come I didn't do that mental work?
Yeah.
I read this article because we did watch the QAnon documentary, and some people were saying like, oh my God, I hope y'all talk about that damn QAnon documentary. And like, I'm still in a place where I don't know how I feel about it. The QAnon documentary.
About the documentary itself.
Well, to me,
I hope you have your feelings, your mind all made up about Q.
No, I have my mind made up about Q. Okay. But I feel like the documentary was like, it started with this question, which was, how much free speech is too much free speech? Mm-hmm. Like, where do we draw the line? Right. And this is a question I care deeply about. Mm-hmm. I actually do.
It's very important.
Because there's a part of me that believes that if we start to police this exchange of ideas, mm-hmm. even if they're out there and far out and made up mm-hmm. and dangerous, mm-hmm. that those ideas will be relegated to a very dark space mm-hmm. and harder to bring to light mm-hmm. because they will be flourishing in the dark.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Because they're not going to go away.
No.
So there is a part of me that understands there's a health to allowing it to be visible, I guess. My problem with it is the total anonymity.
Yeah.
The anonymity of these boards where you can say and do anything and manipulate anyone as a bad actor.
Right.
And you have no fucking idea who it is. That's my problem with it.
Yeah.
And I also recognize that before 8chan or whatever, the QAnon documentary, this shit flourished in a different way. The Unabomber did his thing completely anonymously without the internet.
The Holocaust happened without the internet.
Yeah. There are, I don't know what to do about these groups.
See, my feeling is, I feel like in the marketplace of ideas,
sure,
that hate has always been around. It always will be around. There's always going to be bigotry and hatred.
Great.
Right?
Great.
So if you really do truly care about, capitalism, you care about that kind of thing, free speech, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
These message boards that are driven by advertising, stuff like that, they're not the government. This is not the government saying you can't say this. They are within their rights and within their not just legal but moral rights to say, I don't want that here. And I feel like if you banish it to the dark corners, it makes it harder for them to mainstream their ideas. Because
they have access to a smaller amount of people.
They have access to a smaller amount of people. And if everyone is telling them, no, this is not for here. This is hate, and it's not for here.
It's not for
We're
here.
not going to tolerate it here. If they're banished they have to make their own message boards. They have to make Parler. They have to make Gab. They have to make all this shit. Let them have to do that, and let that keep failing, and let them keep having to rebuild this again and again and again, because the mainstreaming of it, if you're a free speech absolutist or you're pretending to be one online and saying, let people, put their ignorant ideas out there, and then it's your job to out argue them,
or ignore or block.
Yeah. But what they're always saying is debate them. They always want this whole fucking stupid thing where all these idiots online decided that the answer to everything was a debate. Why won't you debate me? Why won't you? They're like demanding that this person debate that person and all that shit, to the point where it's like, why won't Vladimir Putin debate Joe Biden?
Oh, right.
What is the debate going to be? What are you fucking talking about?
Right.
There's no debate. If somebody's trying to say in a crafty way that white supremacy is the way to go, that's a pointless debate. Don't debate this person. I say banish them to the dark corners,
right?
So that it makes it harder for them to organize. It makes it harder for them to mainstream their ideas.
Personally, I've always believed that Twitter and Facebook can say, this is what's allowed and this is what's not. That shouldn't even be a problem. But what do you believe about, and I can't remember what it's called, section whatever, 230, whatever the fuck it's called, where internet platforms are completely unresponsible, not liable for ideas spreading on them, unlike media outlets such as the New York Times or Fox News,
right,
where they can be sued for the responsibility of, because I actually think personally this is going to sound very conservative, what I'm saying. I think that was mistake number one. that those platforms should never have been given the free pass that they had been given to not be sued for liability for these actions that are happening on them.
Right.
I think that should never have happened. That's a personal I have a conservative bent on that particular thing.
But here's the thing.
What do you think about that?
Even if they were, I mean, how many newspapers were held to account for the fucking Vietnam War or the Iraq War? You know what I mean? Like,
but they can only publish truthful things or they will be sued.
Well, no, that's not true. They
can have editorial sections where they're saying,
no, but
I don't believe this.
But they can report things that they've been told and not vet it. And that's
but then they have to go back and say, it has come to our attention that this thing that we reported is not true.
Yeah, but like,
do you see what I mean?
I do see what you mean. But so, I mean, the internet.
So why do you, but what I'm saying is a huge gap.
My point is making a case like that stick is extremely difficult, and I think it's a no-win thing. And I think that's why you don't hear about that. I think that's why you don't hear about these cases being brought against the Washington Post or whatever. You know what I mean?
But you do hear about it because it happened recently. Like what's his name? What's their name? The voting company, Dominion.
Dominion, yeah.
They're suing Fox News for like $1 billion for saying that they.
Because Fox News, that's outright lies. That's conspiracy theories. But I'm saying,
but you can't sue Facebook. Dominion can't sue Facebook for that. Is my point.
Well, fucking Devin Nunes tried to sue Twitter. Here's what I'm saying: is that it depends what you are saying. If you are a major media outlet like the New York Times, and you are just reporting shit that George W. Bush says or that whatever says, and you're not fact checking, you're saying Colin Powell says that there's weapons of mass destruction. There's these tubes, and all that shit. That they're going to say we just reported what they said. We didn't do anything, but their lack of anybody's lack of digging deeper. That's what you have to prove is that, and you can't prove that. You can't prove that you should have asked more questions. You should have dug deeper on this.
Okay, but what I'm saying, but I think you're kind of like skirting a little over the point of what I'm saying is that yes, the New York Times can report a lie that was told to them and not necessarily be held accountable because then they can then come out and report it has come to our attention that this was a lie that was reported.
They can, but they don't always do that. And because it's not as simple as, oh, this is just a lie. You know what I mean?
I get that, but that's not what I'm saying about Facebook and Twitter because I know you're not. I'm addressing your points as you bring them up. I know, but what I'm saying is if the New York Times came out and printed up a newspaper story that said Paul F. Tompkins is a murderer, he murdered these people, blah, 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 and that's a lie, you then could easily and win, I'm serious about this, sue the New York Times for printing a lie about you. Okay, now, if on Facebook an entire group of people, like thousands of people join this group called Paul F. Tompkins is a murderer. Yeah. And they start generating these memes that start brainwashing people into thinking that you're a murderer. Right. Okay. And now all of a sudden your reputation is damaged. You can't get hired because half of America thinks you're a murderer because they're part of this Facebook group. You, Paul F. Tompkins, can sue the New York Times for printing that lie about you, but you cannot sue Facebook for allowing this lie group to proliferate around you. Right. Does that make sense? Yeah. No. My point is this. Had Facebook, Twitter, whoever the fuck, I say Facebook and Twitter, but it's everything, and it's everything from here on out to the future and groups that I'm not mentioning. Yeah. Google, whatever. Had they not been exempt from this responsibility as a media company, because they're not considered media companies. Right. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. I personally do not believe this shit would have gone as far as it has gone.
I don't disagree with that. And I think that
it was a mistake.
I think that they had opportunities to correct that many, many times.
But the government should have, from day one, not categorized them as these freewheeling, open source hate buckets. Okay? Because we pay the government to protect us.
Yeah, that's
that
the
is
idea.
the money that we give to them.
Yeah.
To protect us.
Yeah.
And they just allowed these titans of tech to have this cesspool that lines their pockets in a disgustingly, insanely out of proportion way. And now what do? How do we put the toothpaste back in the tube?
Well, the thing is, you have half of the people in the country don't give a shit. And they don't care about putting the toothpaste back in the tube.
They love it. They love the hate buckets.
They're fine to let it go and roll the dice and see what happens. You know, like the people in the GOP. Look, politics fucking sucks. It sucks to talk about politics. I'm not thrilled with. It's not like I'm thrilled with the Democrats. You know what I mean? And that I think they're fantastic and everything they do is gold.
I don't think this is even a Republican or Democrat.
Let me finish though, please. The GOP though, has dedicated themselves to just letting this happen because it serves them in the short run and in the long run. And there's a nihilism to it of like, hey, you know, we'll be dead and retired and we're not going to be the targets, you know.
Well, and also I think they don't believe in oversight. They just don't believe in it.
Well, they don't believe in oversight, but the reason they don't believe in oversight is because it benefits them, you know. It benefits them personally.
Well, because they're the kind of people that want to do whatever the fuck they want.
They want to do, look, everyone wants to do whatever they want, but they're fine with letting the absolute worst of our society just run wild in the way that they have as it's been growing and growing and growing and growing. And they're fine with that. They don't care.
Let me ask you this though. I revealed that I believe that social media should be treated as a media in the same category as a media outlet. Do you believe that? I mean, I'm fine if you don't believe that. I'm just
I think it needs to be. I'm just
curious where you fall on that.
I think it needs to be figured out, and it was never figured out. The problem with the internet was that it sprung up and moved forward so quickly, that nobody was really paying enough. The people that had to were not paying enough attention to it to figure out what was going to bite us in the ass. And now here we are. You know, so I believe in regulation, and I think that, you know,
I think they should. I think they should be held accountable.
I think there should be some.
I think they should be held accountable in a way that a newspaper. If I had a newspaper, I couldn't print whatever the fuck I wanted. I'd be sued. I'd be sued. You know what I'm saying?
I think but there's also the difference between the newspaper publishing something is and having an editorial section where you can say whatever you want.
Yes.
It's the inverse of the internet, where all of the internet is the opinion page.
All the internet,
and the idea is, hey, take it or leave it. We're not saying it's true.
The internet is the editorial section, like times a gazillion.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's just like wouldn't it be fun if the newspaper was only the editorial section and we didn't even vet the opinions that came through? Like we didn't even give, you know, it's just this like. I don't see, to me, it doesn't feel sustainable. I mean, I may be wrong, and I'm not a big thinker on tech, so I don't have like great ideas, but these are my small.
Well, things are going to get worse for sure.
These are my small, narrow ideas and opinions about it. As someone who is on the internet every day, that's all I have to give you is that I'm on the internet every day. I don't have some great like solution or master
No,
fucking idea.
But it's not up to us to have that. We're just talking about it, you know? But I feel like if the FBI has a method of determining what is, you know, language that is flagged, you know, they have things that they look out for, right?
Yes, yeah.
It's not inconceivable that they could come up with a checklist of things that apply to hate speech and organizing to do harm.
Yes.
Where they can say to 8chan or whoever, if any of these things meet this criteria, you are liable for letting it stay up.
Yes. But like the thing about that whole documentary about like who is Q and what is Q and where did it come from and everything, like it was well, first of all, what did you think of the documentary? Like, did you think that guy and his son were Q?
I mean, the documentary makes it seem like that's extremely likely.
I agree.
But again, that's the documentary's thrust. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like now am I in Q because I'm like, oh, I'm in the alternate Q where I think I know who Q is.
No, I think it's like,
I mean, those guys were running that board, yes, and they seem to
definitely that doc is leading you to believe that it's the Watkinses, and you know, and it seems like from what they're presenting that seems likely. But again, documentaries you do have to take with a grain of salt because a documentary creates a narrative that they want you to buy into. I
definitely found that the son and the father were like
assholes.
Yeah, like so. Say they are Q. Mm-hmm. I firmly believe when they were saying, "I'm not political. I don't have a dog in this fight." I think that's true because I think that Q for them was not about politics. Mm-hmm. Q for them, if they are Q, Q for them was about mind control, attention, and gamesmanship and manipulation.
I think I agree with all that, but I don't think that the political thing, especially for the dad, is. I think he's lying when he says, I don't know anything. He knows who Roger Stone is. Yeah.
Well, I think he knew who Roger Stone is, but I also don't think he...
But he also, earlier in the thing, he had this idea of like politicians, you know, line them up and machine gun them and then get the next, you know, group up and machine gun them. And
so he's just anti-government.
Yeah. He has thoughts on it. You know what I mean? Like he's pretending like, oh, I don't even know what politics is.
He's kind of coy. I did find them to be suspicious just in their existence. Like they just seemed
their very existence is suspicious.
Yeah, like they seemed very like not on the up and up.
No. They're not fucking on the up assholes.
And up. Not on the up
They're
and up.
They're creeps.
And the whole idea of 8chan, which I've never visited or known much about, the whole idea of it seemed so sordid. Like the fact that there are like these hate groups and pedophile, like child porn and all this stuff on there.
It's gross. It's the worst people.
It's the worst
getting together to be gross.
It's the worst people. And he sort of paints himself as this sort of like the dad, where he was like, oh, there's nothing illegal about, like, he's like pushing the edges of like, there's nothing illegal. And it's like, sure, technically, maybe what you're doing is not illegal, but there's no way in hell that the people who are drawn to this area of the web are not criminals.
Yeah.
And that needs to be acknowledged. Like, what are you doing to bring these people to the attention of the authorities that are sharing child pornography on your fucking site?
Yeah, usually the people that are saying, well, it's not illegal, are like, if that's your defense when somebody's saying, is this wrong?
It ain't great.
Then that means that you're probably a fucked up person. Because we're not talking about, like having sex out of marriage or weed or whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about creating a safe haven for the most hateful people in the world.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. And maybe you're just a champion of the grossest people to ever walk this universe. And maybe there needs to be someone who's a champion of those people. Mm-hmm. But also maybe that person who's a champion of those people need to be very much scrutinized by authorities.
I will also say those people, I think, have plenty of champions.
You think?
Yes. These are people that want to be victims. They want to be victims so bad.
I also think they become excited by shit happening. Like when January 6th happened, they were probably like, oh shit, we had a hand in this.
Yes.
But on the other hand, wow, like this is exciting. We were part of this thing.
Yeah.
We were part of this thing where people died. And it's just so, I don't know. And then the people that sort of were like capitalizing on QAnon that had no clue the origins or what it was or anything like that, are sort of like swept up in this community. And I say, first of all, can we acknowledge that MAGA and QAnon fashion is garbage? Like when I see those rallies or I see those conventions or whatever, it just looks like a bunch of like truck stop fashion. Like it just looks like
they love a bold printed t-shirt for sure.
None of those t-shirts look soft. I'll tell you that.
They do look very scratchy.
They don't look like, oh my God, this is my favorite t-shirt.
And not like the t-shirts you get at
kinshipgoods.com, guys. Official home of stayfhomekins.
All right, we should wrap it up.
By the way, we have great new merch at Kinship Goods. We have the new squirrel t-shirt that is now also available as a sweatshirt.
Yes.
Please go to kinshipgoods.com and check out the official Stay of Homekins merch, because I think there's new stuff coming down the road. I'm just saying.
And check their other stuff too.
In terms
it's all
of
great.
like MAGA and Q t-shirts. Okay, put it this way. If you're going to own an official Stay of Homekins t-shirt or sweatshirt made by hand by kinshipgoods.com, you are going to say to yourself, this is my favorite t-shirt or sweatshirt I've ever owned.
Yeah.
All I know is I've worn all year my Kinship Goods sweatshirt. People have written to me and they're like, this is the best t-shirt I've ever had in my life. It launders amazingly. It's super soft. Now, if you get a relative that gifts you some QAnon t-shirt,
happy birthday. I think you're going to like this.
or some MAGA,
it's Vincent Fusco Jr.
something, I promise you it will be stiff.
Yeah.
It will be flammable. You don't want to get near any candles in it.
And you know what? It's going to be a bad fit. It's going to be a bad fit.
And it's not even going to be 100% cotton. It's going to be
the
a blend.
Medium's too big and the large is too small.
It's going to be a blend. You're going to sweat in it. In this, you're going to be like, I don't get it. I'm wearing a t-shirt in the summer. This is supposed to be cool. Why is it
Why would
heating?
Q do this to me?
Why is it increasing my basal body temperature? Why, when I went into this public space and they did the COVID check on my forehead, it yielded a temperature when all I'm wearing is this QAnon t-shirt?
You're saying they submitted to the forehead temperature check? All right, we got to wrap it up.
I'm just saying.
Do you have any recommendations?
Yes, I am a guest on
that's right.
the podcast known as The Big Ones.
Patreon edition. But it's not.
No, it's the regular edition.
It's the regular edition.
Please go to The Big Ones. Amanda Lund and Maria Blasucci.
It's one of my favorite podcasts of all time.
Well, we were on as a couple once.
We were on as a couple once. You can seek that out. We talked
about... We are
about,
supposed to figure out ethical
indecent
matters.
Proposal.
Yeah, ethical.
It's a great podcast. They talk about ethical dilemmas. It's really fun. They're Maria and Amanda are both so funny. and it's free and it's great. And Janie's on there.
I'm on the latest one.
episode. Oh, hiccup.
That's my recommendation just because I had a very nice time guesting on it.
It's a good one, honey. It's a good one.
How about the yeah?
I am on the recent episode of Good Christian Fun talking about Godspell, which we talked about before it was available, but now it is available. And I want to talk about a show called, let me see the title. I want to get the title right because it's Friends Talk Frasier and Feelings. And it is two wonderful improvisers named Victoria Longwell and Talia Tabin. And they talk, one of them is a huge Frasier head, has seen every episode of Frasier. The other one has never seen an episode of Frasier. And so they watch Frasier episode by episode and they talk about it. And then they talk about the larger themes of it, feelings and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it's really enjoyable to listen to. Now, I don't think either of them listen to this podcast. And I don't think they realize
that you were on an episode of Frasier.
I was not, but I was on it was so late in the run of Frasier that they will have, if they're still doing the podcast by then,
So they're going in order.
They're going in order. Okay. Yeah, they're in season 1 right now.
Well, they have to do the whole series.
They have to do the whole series.
There's no question about it.
But it's really, they're both, I know them from the You're the Man Now Dog podcast, which is hosted by Dan Lippert and Ryan Rosenberg, which I've appeared on and I'm a big fan of. And they do a thing, they've been doing it like once a month called Happy Hour, which is the 4 of them. Dan, Ryan, Victoria, and Talia.
Oh, I've seen you listen to that.
Yeah. And
because they also do a video version.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And
And Dan gave us a bottle of Tito's at one time.
Yes, he did. Yeah, it was very sweet. But
he's kind of my favorite person, and he doesn't know it.
Dan, if you're listening,
Dan,
you've got
you
a
left
fan.
us a bottle of Tito's, and I got your number.
But it's So they have their own podcast now, Victoria and Talia, called Friends Talk Frasier and Feelings, and it's really enjoyable. I've really been enjoying listening to it. They're like in their 12th week or something.
Okay, that's cute.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
but it's like nice. If you like this, you might like that because it's good for they've known each other for years.
Conversational.
They're friends. It's conversational and it's fun.
Well, guys, that is Stayfhomekins for you.
A little bit of a long episode. We really had a lot to talk about.
Welcome to find us on our Instagram at stayfhomekins. Definitely on our Twitter feed at stayfhomekins, where we post as soon as a new episode drops. We post it to our Twitter feed.
Yes.
And we also have a Gmail account at stayfhomekins@gmail.com. We read all of your emails. We do not respond to them because we are not superhumans. That is the only problem with getting lots of mail, but we love it.
It's true. But yes, we really appreciate it.
You guys write the best responses and emails.
Yeah.
And we appreciate it.
We really do love hearing from you, and we really appreciate you listening. We'll be back next week. Until then, stay safe, stay sane, and stay home.